Hello and welcome back to day two here on Adobe Live with the wonderful, talented, all around amazing artist, Amina. Amina, how you doing this morning?
I'm so good, Erin. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. I'm so excited for today's stream. For those of you who are just joining us, give us a shout out in that chat. Yesterday, the chat was so much fun. We are super excited to be interacting with you today. So, if you have a question for Amina, be sure to leave it in the chat and we will be sure to get it to her. And yeah, this is a live broadcast. And the best part about that is that we can interact, we can chat back and forth, and we can have some awesome discussions. Of course, about technical things. We're going to be going over photo editing in Lightroom today, but also about Amina's artistic process and her approach to creating art. Now, before we get started, don't forget to sign into the Photoshop Creative Challenges. This is going to be hosted every single day by Wade Acuff. Well, it's every weekday at 9 a.m. Pacific. Tune in and challenge yourself with a new prompt every single day. And today we are going over our artist spotlight. That's going to be in about 90 minutes. So if you are joining us here on Behance, you can see on the very top right up above the chat module, you'll see an artist spotlight. So you can actually submit yourself or another person to be the artist that we spotlight in one of our live broadcasts. Alrighty. Well, I'm so excited. Amina, can you tell us a little bit about what we're going to be learning today?
Yes, I can. So, yesterday we had a lot of fun editing a couple different photos. We edited some concert photography. We edited some campaign photography. And today I'm going to dive more into my personal work, which is a lot of travel photography, some portraiture, and more. And I'm so excited to show off all of the different lighting scenarios and show you how to work through those extremely dark photos that you still can't let go of, or those extremely bright photos that are a little bit too blown out. I'm going to show you how to bring it back. So we're going to have a lot of fun today. I'm so excited to be here with you all.
Nice. Yeah, I'm like, you got your first image pulled up here, and I'm like, whoa, how are we going to work with this? It's it's, as you said, an extremely dark photo. And I think a lot of us might come from a background saying like this is a throwaway, like we can't do anything with photos like this. But I think Amina is going to show us that there's hope. There's hope for us all.
Yes, there is. There's hope for us all. There's hope for this photo. There's hope for those throwaways that could end up being masterpieces. You actually never know until you give it a go. So that's what we're going to be doing today.
Brilliant, brilliant. Well, let's get into it. And it's so awesome to see everyone here from the chat. So just remember, if you have any questions throughout today's broadcast, be sure to leave them in the chat. All right, Amina, take it away. You got this.
All right. Thank you, Erin. So we are going to start with, let's see here. I'm going to just go ahead and show you what I imported for today. And we've got a lot of photos here, folks. We've got photos from Egypt from my last trip in 2019. That's what you're looking at right now. We've got some photos from Paris, also in 2019. That was an amazing trip. Just so much like beauty. And as you can see, a lot of these are underexposed, but we're going to save them. Some of these really fun portraits of my
Those are
friend
cool.
Ashley.
I love those.
Yeah. We were walking around Paris and just stumbled upon this really, really cool window display. I think it was like a bike rental place, but I just thought it looked so cool. And I'm always like looking for different photos to use as assets in my digital collages. And yeah, I kind of like look at photos like this as different puzzle pieces. So yeah, that's my process. And yeah, so let's see what else we've got here. Lots of Paris. Oh, I also brought in a lot of photos from the pyramids of Giza in
Oh,
Egypt.
cool. I love those.
Yes, I love these photos so much. My family actually lives right across the street from the pyramids. It's insane. And so I had the pleasure of really like connecting with this like sacred site. It was insane.
Yeah.
So
It's
I'm
weird to
excited
think
to
about
show
people
you.
living there.
It's so funny, actually, like right on the other side, like the way we're facing the pyramids right now, like if you were to turn the other way 180, it's like totally suburban, you know, it actually cracks me up. And they're building the new Egyptian museum right there as well. So definitely put that on your bucket list because it is a magical sight to see. And then oh yeah, we're going to dive into some photos from Oaxaca, Mexico as well.
I love Oaxaca.
Me too. That was beautiful. So yeah, we've got tons of different kinds of images here today, lots of portraits at the end as well. And
Nice.
yeah.
Do you want to
So
do some
chat. Go ahead.
well, what are you feeling today? Maybe something we can switch it up from yesterday. Let's
I
see
feel
what
like the photos were pretty bright yesterday.
they were. Yes. I'm interested to see what you can do with some of those dark photos. Maybe with the bicycle shop background. Those are really cool.
Yeah, let's start with that. So in order to find those a little bit easier, I'm going to minimize my thumbnails here so I can just kind of scrub through the photos faster. I believe they were kind of closer to the top. Yeah, there they are.
Nice.
How's everyone in the chat doing today? Oop, we don't want to do that.
How Paris, smoking a cigarette in front of a bicycle rental shop.
So Parisian. That's a good one.
You set down your baguette and bottle of red wine to take the pictures.
Actually, yes.
That would be my speed, 100%. Hold on.
Wait, pause, stop everything. I need you to stand right here.
Definitely.
So let's see what we've got here. So this is really fun because this is just like so much going on. She's reaching in her bag. She's kind of like not really in focus, but also I was kind of like hoping to make a silhouette here and really focus on the texture behind her and just create a fun environment for her to like exist in. And so what I would do with this, like honestly, not much. I would use this for a digital collage and like layer it on top of stuff later. And in order to like prep it for that, I might like make it very, very dark and kind of unrecognizable and really make these chains like stand out in order. Like when I do my composites or digital collages, I tend to like really love all of this negative space because I can fill it with something later. And so that's how I kind of like think about it in my mind. And so kind of like the more negative space to play with in a layering scenario, the better. But I'm not going to do composites for you today. You will have to catch another Adobe Live for that.
There we go.
Today, we are going to just push these photos. If you want to brighten a photo, like, look, I'm going to show you how dark we started one more time. That's pretty dark.
Very
and
dark.
You can actually push it pretty far if you want to brighten it up.
Wow.
Even just that is like so nice. So obviously, very simple edit. I'm just adjusting the exposure, but there's so many ways you can achieve that. My go-tos are always the highlights and the shadows, kind of just toggling those until I find like my sweet spot, you know? And I tend to just really like an even photo.
Yeah,
as you can see, this is a lot more even than before.
You're able to bring all that detail back from the highlights. That's so cool.
Exactly. I was saying yesterday, I feel like such a mad scientist when I do this because it's like, oh, that wasn't there before, but now it is. Or, you know, you're really bringing it out.
Yeah, it's really mad.
Yeah. I used to, when I was growing up, I was like the yearbook editor in high school. It was actually cute times, you know, but I always wanted to do like a darkroom class and I never had the chance. But honestly, this gives me the same satisfaction that I'm sure darkroom processing would have given me, though I still want to learn it.
Minus all the fun chemicals.
Right. This is like at least you don't have to get your hands dirty or anything.
Definitely. Yeah, I never got to spend much time in a dark room either. I've done it a few times just for fun, and it's a special experience. Let us know in the chat. Has anyone actually worked in a physical dark room developing film? I'd be super interested to hear from you guys.
Absolutely. Let us know your thoughts on, digital photography versus analog photography. Both have their perks. I really fell in love with digital photography when I discovered how much I could process them like the way that I'm doing now.
That's
It's
so cool.
kind of
I love that edit you've
yeah,
done. It's really funky.
it's so funky. This is like a very psychedelic edit. But you don't have to go that route always. Again, we were talking about yesterday how it's easy to kind of get super, super in the sauce of all the colors that especially when they're like so bright. I feel like this image specifically, it works, but even that's pretty fun. And when I was zooming in, you can kind of see the grain a little bit more now. And so I'm going to see if I can like even it out to make it a little bit more or less grainy. When you're shooting at night like this, you really got to pay attention to all of your ISO and your f-stop and such. But sometimes you just got to push it. And honestly, I'm not a hater of the grain. I think that a memory is still a memory if it's grainy or not,
I'm with you. I would rather take a really interesting photo with grain than like a boring photo without grain.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like the shadows work here really well. And I'm just going to leave it like that. What do we think, chat?
Love it. Love it. They're going off on the film processing, and people are talking about the smells in the dark room, getting to them. And Steve is back in the Jurassic era. I was a dark room mole. So Steve has got that dark room knowledge he can drop for us.
Steve, you're gonna have to follow me on Instagram and shoot me a DM so I can ask you some questions about your experience in the darkroom.
Yes. Just catching up with your event last night on Instagram. Looked like so much fun.
Oh my goodness, I had a blast yesterday. There's so much going on in LA right now. It is like NFT LA week, and I actually had stumbled upon like a neon art show and workshop, and I had the chance to actually bend glass for the first time. There's a really cool collective called She Bends, and it's like an all women like neon bending like collective. And I have a friend in the Bay Area who is one of the founders. Her name is Meryl. And yeah, when you follow your intuition, you end up in really cool spots. It was actually so unexpected and awesome.
That's one of the advantages of living in a big city. I feel like if you're in a small town, the chances of finding a women collective of neon sign benders is you're not going to find that just anywhere. It's fantastic.
Right. It was so random, but like also not. I live downtown LA. And so
you live downtown? Wow.
Yeah, I live right smack downtown. And I always walk by this building, or I guess it's a gallery that I figured out yesterday. And I saw them adding the neon, and I was like, when are they going to have the opening? Turns out it was yesterday.
Yesterday. Meant to be.
So right now I'm actually playing in this color grading sector right over here. Cool. I brought out all of these oranges over here from the shadows. If you go back center, it's like a lot more of a cooler toned. And then if you veer all the way to the right by the orange, it gets a lot warmer, which I honestly love. I think it preserves the cool tones pretty nicely as well. And then let's see what I can do to these highlights. Oh, this is so fun.
It is. It's amazing to see where it's come already, from where it started.
Right. And then I believe you can check the before and after with this, right? Yeah. That's looking cool.
Yeah.
Whoa. All the different ways.
It's so cool. And then if you click two
I don't know
buttons
how to get out of here.
two buttons to the left, just the like box at the bottom. That'll get
there
you
it
back.
is.
I know
There
you would
it
think
is.
that
That's
button
so
would
funny.
just cycle to not before and after clicking a bunch of times, but alas, it does not.
Alas, that could probably be some product feedback.
There we go.
That's kind of intuitive though to click this full screen one.
Yeah.
So right now we are looking at the midtones here, and Aaron, how would you explain midtones to the chat?
Well, it's in between the highlights and the shadows. So like middle gray, I would say, like 50% gray, basically. Yeah. So
That's
like
so interesting.
People's skin, like things like that.
Oh my goodness. I got an ad while I was watching YouTube earlier for Lightroom, and it was like this very therapeutic photo of a flower being like cycled through with all of these color grading tools, and I just thought it was so cool. I'm like, even watching editing happen is just so therapeutic. Like,
it is,
it's insane.
It's like, ooh, put that over there. That looks cool.
Yes. I hope all of you in the chat are finding this therapeutic.
Definitely, they're loving the fun colors and the psychedelic looks of the images. Yes.
So this is looking a lot more like a graphic piece to me than a photo now, which is honestly like one of my favorite. That's when I know I've like pushed it pretty far. I love that graphic look.
Yeah, it's super
That's fun. Let's check it out. So as you can see, it's much harder to see the grain now. It looks a lot more smooth. And I love these highlights here. You
did the noise reduction on there?
I'm sure I did. Yeah, I always do that. I think it just gives it like a nice painterly look.
Definitely.
Yeah, so if you scroll down your sidebar here, like the main tools I use are this first like adjustment section here, and then I typically go down and I bring up the noise reduction. The difference there is really in, like I said earlier, like that just smooth painterly look. It's a lot grainier there now. And then if I add some noise reduction, boom, a lot smoother. And that's not always what you want. Like, of course, if you're doing like a product photography shoot or, something more commercial, I think they prefer the crispy look with photos most of the time. But as we're going to talk about today, like there's so many different use cases for photos and so many directions you can take things in, and it's good to have kind of like a repertoire of knowledge of all of the different ways that people or clients or your subjects, your models, how they prefer the photos to look and feel. And if you are a freelance photographer, it's always good to like ask about that, ask about what the person is looking for in a final edit. And you can use descriptive words like texture. Do you want more of a dreamy, ethereal feel? Do you want something bright and vibrant? Do you want something warm or cool or more neutral toned? You can really ask all of those questions so that you have all of the insight you need in order to execute at the highest level.
Definitely. I feel you. Well, I think this is looking great. What do you think about moving on to maybe another image where we're dealing with like slightly different issues? So we saw what amazing stuff we can do with these dark toned images, bring them back and make them look amazing. I'm just so excited. You have so many great pictures here. I'm like, dude, let's do them all.
Let's get in there. Yeah. So let's see, maybe one of these sunset photos. I think those can be kind of tricky to like find an even balance and bring out those shadows or the details in the shadows. Let's see what's going on here. So here we have something that's very silhouetted, and I mean, I love a silhouette, you know, those are really fun to me, but I also love to see how far I can push these kinds of photos to make it look like I guess my thing is making things look and feel like a painting. That's my energy today, and just conveying a mood. And I think this image specifically makes me feel very nostalgic and very like, it reminds me of like a late summer evening when you know, things are shifting. And so in order to kind of get that feeling and bring out these shadows, what did I shoot on? 320 ISO. Interesting. 50 millimeter is my go-to lens, by the way, typically.
Totally.
Yeah. So yeah, let's see what we can do with this. What I'm going to do my best to do is bring out the details in these leaves, and also bring out some of the details in the foreground here, these two chairs, so that you can imagine yourself sitting there, you know?
Yes. Where was this photo taken?
This was in Paris. It was, there is like, I don't know what the area is actually called, but there is like a circular like bus station. And I think it was like near one of those archway things.
They're everywhere.
Yeah. There was definitely a view of the Eiffel Tower there somewhere. It was like a gorgeous garden around a fountain, and just like sat here watching the buses go by for a while. And the sunset was gorgeous. And you can't really tell with this photo, but that's why I'm going to change that. I think a huge like pain point for a lot of photographers, especially starting out, is that tension and frustration when you see in real life like a moment and you imagine it as a photo, but sometimes you don't have your settings quite right, or also like it's not going to be what it is like in front of you in the camera right away. But if you know the tools that you can use to actually bring that image closer to what you actually experienced and what you felt in that moment, you're golden. So hopefully you will learn a tip or two here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to the highlights, and I'm going to bring the highlights all the way down and the whites all the way down. Whoa. And then I'm, yeah.
Unexpected.
I know, I'm kind of wild. It's the Wild West out here. Yes. I'm going to bring the contrast down, and then I'm going to bring the exposure up just a smidge right there. And then I'm going to, as you can see, it's already doing a little bit of what I wanted to do. It's kind of evening out the image in a more realistic way. It was like, I consider this to be like, this was right after a golden hour. This was definitely like a sunset moment. But those are often hard to shoot because it creates so much silhouette. So next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how dark it is up here in these leaves, and how it's so muddy up there, but hopefully we're going to recover that. Nice. Some of the details here. So next thing, I feel like this is my little secret, like killing the highlights and whites, and then like bringing the shadows out, or the detail in the shadows more. And then maybe like bringing a little bit more black in there so that it's not so flat. And from there, let's see how this is looking. Not too bad so far. Not too bad. You can see a lot more detail than you could before. And then now we are going to go down, and we're going to play with some of these. Let's see, all the way down into this calibration section. And so in a sunset moment like this, I often feel like the moment itself was a lot pinker than it was portrayed in this image. And so I'm going to just add a little bit of a pink shadow and see if that makes much of a difference. That's a little bit too much, but that does feel very nostalgic. So I'm not going to say it's wrong, but it's just not what I'm going for. I'm looking for a little bit more there. And this makes me think, okay, maybe that didn't work quite how I wanted. So maybe I'll go back up to the color grading section up here and see what I can do with the highlights. Maybe it's in the highlights. And so let's see if I can add a little bit more pink in the highlights here.
Yeah, this new color grading section is so powerful in Lightroom. For anyone who hasn't used it yet, just jump on in. It's so much fun. And you can click on the little eyeball next to shadow, midtones, and highlights to make those visible and invisible. And it's totally non-destructive. So any changes you make can be undone at any time. So there's no worries about ruining your photos. Can't do it.
Can't do it. That's why we love Lightroom. That's why we've been super loyal for like 10 years.
Yeah. I know. I'm like, well, I guess I'll just always use this.
It's just like a part of my life now. Like,
it's so true. Like, I'm like, when will I not have Adobe Creative Cloud? And I'm like, oh, I will always have it.
I'll always have it. That's just what it is.
Yeah, I'll always have it. They got me. You did it.
You did it. That's a great product. Like, you know, it's like, why would you consider other things? Exactly. I'm just kidding. There's a lot of really cool tools out there, but Lightroom and Photoshop and honestly, all of the Adobe programs I've tried have knocked it out of the park for me. So
yeah, for what they do, they do it very well.
This is looking really cool. And so what I'm doing now is I am kind of veering a little bit more green in the shadows here, because what is even shadowed in the image are the green leaves, the trees over here. And I added some like magenta, pink, I guess that's fuchsia on, that's pink. Fuchsia's more over here. But I added that into the highlights. Oh, what did I do over here? I also added some pink, fuchsia, magenta over here in the midtones. And I think that did a lot more than the highlights did. So that's good to know. This just feels like the moment felt. It might not look exactly how it looked in the moment, but this is how it felt. And that's what I'm trying to really convey here is that memory has like an energy and emotional signature. And now when I look at this photo, I'm going to be able to really feel that memory.
That's so cool. And then I am assuming, because there are other photos that you took like right next to this, are you able to sync those together so the edits that you made on this one can be applied to the other ones too?
Exactly. It is so cool that we can do that. So there's a few ways you can do it. You can do it in this timeline here, or you can go back to the library and find where you were, and it will highlight it for you there.
Nice.
And I can actually look at all of the photos in this import and see, okay, maybe all of these photos that we're following, like I'm going to want to copy and paste and sync this edit to all of these. And I know to stop here because it's a different lighting situation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click Command and just click all the way. Command Shift and click all the way to the end of this like section here. And then I think I want to click Sync Settings, not Sync. Sync Settings, I think, yeah, Sync Settings. And it will do all of this here for you. All of these updates I made in the basic module, the tone curve, the HSL curve, the color grading, all of that. And you can unclick where you maybe don't want it to sync up for you. But in this scenario, I do want all of this synchronized.
Let's do them all.
Let's do them all and see how we did. Whoa.
Cool.
This never fails to impress me.
Yeah, you can see the magic happening.
Those are very bright, very colorful. Let's scroll through some of these and see how they're looking. So this was the first one here. And that looks really cool. Second one. We've got the Eiffel Tower there. That's a very bright, vibrant pink.
That was cool.
But I
dig it.
love this photo. Yeah, it's looking good. Let's go in and make some adjustments. Sometimes in a photo, it's like not exactly as you would like it. This for me
Mm-hmm.
feels a little bit too pigmented to feel real, but I like it. I really like the tone of the trees right here, actually. And I love the couple here. It just feels very like quintessential Parisian moment or
Yeah.
travel moment. I'm such a tourist. Yes, let's see. So maybe I don't want as much pink in there. So I'm going to just see what bringing down the saturation in this red primary section of the calibration module will do. That looks a little bit more subdued to me. And maybe I'll bring down a little bit of the green as well. Yeah.
We have a question from the chat. Ferry is asking us, do you prefer to shoot overexposed? He said it reminds him of someone who shoots with film, and they do that often. What exposure do you tend to shoot for when you're photographing?
That is a great question. So I, in the past, have heard that shooting overexposed, it really depends on how overexposed it is, because I think that when I was learning photography, I was told to shoot a little bit underexposed because you can always bring that back in without having it be like too blown out. Versus if you shoot too overexposed, it might end up being a little bit like too bright to where you can't recover it. And I try to shoot like exactly somewhere in the middle. But if I'm like somewhere, it really depends on what I'm using the image for as well, because like photos like these here, where she was standing in front of the gate, like those I wanted to be a little bit underexposed because I knew that I would want to layer some photos on top of it eventually. And I would want to use the texture, not necessarily like the whole of the photo as the final outcome. But if it's something like this, like as you can see, I was able to bring back a lot of the detail sort of here. But maybe if I had shot a little bit brighter in exposure, I could have evened it out more. And so it's such a like learn as you go and a case-to-case basis. But why don't we go over to one of the portraits I brought in that are overexposed and see like how we do there.
How do we do?
How do we do? This is my friend Ayana. She is an incredible musician and visual artist and model as well. We actually shot some photos a few days ago because I wanted to show off some of these use cases, like answering the question of overexposure. So this is pretty overexposed, but it's like not too bright. And so with something like this, you can actually just bring the exposure down and it's pretty salvageable. Definitely. As you can see.
Wow. Yeah.
It's like very, very easy to bring that back. Whereas if it was a lot brighter, like sometimes, you know, when you're shooting test shots, it can come out this bright. And I think images that are this bright are a lot harder to bring back versus something that's like slightly overexposed. Mm-hmm. So take of that what you will. Mm-hmm. I know I kind of like didn't answer that question fully, but it really, really does depend on the moment. Like if I'm shooting in the daytime, maybe a little bit more overexposed is okay, versus at night, you're going to get a lot more grain if you're shooting underexposed and you want to like bring it back later. So
definitely.
It really depends.
Cool sunglasses.
I know. She's so stylish. It's crazy. But yeah, let's play with this for a bit. So we started out really bright. We ended up going to the exposure toggle tab and brought it down with just one click, evened it out immediately. And then what I like to do, and again, this was one of those like midday, I think it was maybe like 2 p.m. And so the sun was very, very contrasty, very high in the sky. And I just told her, like, if you're ever photographing a model and the sun is high in the sky and you don't have a reflector, a little tip and trick is to have them just tilt their face up towards the sun. Like if the light source is like, you have to kind of imagine where the light source is and have them make sure that they're facing it so that there's not like crazy shadows on their face that are not flattering. And so that's how you get like a very ethereal, well lit and evenly lit photo.
Yes,
in those kinds of light situations.
Look towards the light.
Yes. And sometimes it's bright. Sometimes they'll need to close their eyes and you're going to have to tell them, okay, on 3, open. And then they close it again because it's too bright. Totally. But that's okay. Yeah. So let's see what we want to do.
Dripping blue third eye sunglasses.
I know. Let's just give a moment or have a moment for these sunglasses. I wish it was a little bit more in focus. Honestly, when I first started shooting photos, I would be so frustrated when it wasn't like exactly in focus. And I know that that's something that a lot of photographers get frustrated about. But if it's a good photo, it's a good photo. I say keep it, you know? These are a lot more in focus here. So this is a fun one too. I really do love those glasses. I actually love this shot too. And again, she's like basically just completely blew her out here. And we're going to bring it back because we can. Incredibly powerful tool.
Done.
That's literally just all you need to do. I love when a photo is just like so easy to adjust like that. You can see all the details in her hair and her face and the glasses, all the texture. This is a situation where I actually love texture. Like I wouldn't do too much of the noise reduction into this photo.
Yeah, it already looks so good. It's like,
it does.
Don't mess with it.
I know. So something about me, I honestly prefer the warmth than the cool toned photos typically, but I think too warm might be like, oh, that's kind of fun. Again, it really depends on the use case. If this is like a photo advertising these sunglasses, you could probably go a little bit more funky, especially since they're very creative and explorational.
Yeah, they're already
experimental.
Funky, so it fits.
It does really fit. Like portraits, when I first started shooting portraits, I was all about the creative portrait edit. I would try and push for the craziest colors, and these days I prefer a more natural edit, but it's still fun to like experiment. I find that the more edits I do on something, I end up using the more natural one lately.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes you have to like see how it looks and feels in all of the other scenarios before you like choose one.
Yeah, definitely. It's like you have to like train your brain to see like, okay, what do I want?
Right.
And you can create different snapshots. Have you ever done that?
I haven't. I am I was very like self-taught. And so I kind of stuck to what I knew over the years, but I'm so like, I feel like I'm in a space again where I'm ready to like start exploring more than just the basics, you know? So what is a snapshot? Yeah.
So right above your history panel on the left, you'll see it says snapshots.
History panel on the left, snapshots. Okay.
Yeah. So you can click the little plus and then there we go. You can give it a name. You could say like orange skin or there we go.
So warmer edit 1.
Yeah. And then you can hit create and it'll go bing, it's right there. And then you can do like a totally different edit and then
and then another snapshot.
Add another snapshot, and then you can just click through them and be like, which one do I like, you know?
I love that. Whenever I would do that, I would just scroll through the history and be like, okay, all of these subtle adjustments. That's actually brilliant. Thank you for showing me that.
It's so nice. I don't use it as much as I should, but it's a really helpful tool, especially when you want to do an artistic edit and you can kind of like see a few different variations. Or even if you want to show your client like a couple different variations, like, do you like this one more natural? Do you like this one more funky?
Oh my God, that's amazing. That's so brilliant. I'm like, my mind just, this is why I say it's important to always be a student, because you never know, like I talk too fast when I get excited. Slow it down, Amina, slow it down. So yeah, there has been so many scenarios where I will like bounce out an edit or like 5 edits instead of, that's just such an amazing tool. But this is why I say it's important to always be open and receptive to learning and new experiences, because, you know, it's so easy to get caught up in our regular routines and just continue like what we've been doing. Especially like a couple of years ago, I was shooting like 5-6 days a week and then editing also like 7 days a week. And I burnt myself out, and I didn't really have the chance to like veer outside of my typical workflow, you know, because I was so busy. But now that I've given myself a little bit more free time, I'm really excited to like explore further and really just continue to be a student.
Definitely. I feel you there. Like, you know, these lifelong passions and hobbies, we go through waves as people. And, you know, sometimes we're in the, you know, shoot every day and, you know, do nothing but edit and take pictures. And then sometimes we go through, I don't want to take any more pictures. And, you know, I find that like, you know, with art, it kind of just flows with the natural wave of life. And, you know, and it doesn't have to be what you did last year, doesn't have to be what you're doing this year. Like, I think being flexible and allowing yourself to change and be gracious with time is a recipe for long-term success.
All of that. That is a great, great snippet, Aaron. It's always okay to begin again. Like Definitely. you can be you today and you tomorrow, but also decide that you are going to completely change, and that's okay. We are constantly evolving.
Constantly. Yeah, the art I'm creating these days is very different from the art that I was doing 10 years ago, and that's okay. I'm a different person than I was 10 years ago, so it should be different.
It should be different, because we are allowing ourselves to transform. I used to be so resistant to change, and these days I'm really doing my best to welcome it, because that is how we grow.
Yeah, and it's unavoidable anyway. There's nothing you can do to stop it. You know, it's the cycles of life will happen whether you want them to or not.
Yes, they will.
Oh, that's cool. I like that look. That's
like I know.
Very funky. I like that a lot.
Sometimes it's in those like weird moments that you get really cool edits.
It is, yes. It's like, well, let me just try something weird. Why not? You know, and it doesn't always have to be like perfectly technically correct, you know, but if you're open to these new ideas, you can come up with something else. And why not? It's art. There's no right or wrong.
Exactly. It's art. And that's why I wanted to bring in a lot more of my personal work today, because this is where I have a chance to really experiment. And then I can like bring these new discoveries that I've experimented with into my client work and give them that option if they want something a little bit more creative.
Definitely. Yeah. And a lot of the time, you know, clients will be attracted to your personal work first and, you know, say, okay, cool. Well, you did that campaign or you shot these images. We want something with a similar feel. So of the artists that I've known that have been successful over time and have kept creating art over time, most of them create a lot of personal work. because if it's just client work, it's super easy to get burned out. I know for myself as an artist, I don't want anyone telling me how to make my art. It's not fun anymore. As for work, for clients, that's totally okay. That's part of the job. But for personal work, it's like, no, I want to just do whatever I want to do. And, that's perfect. That's what personal work should be.
Exactly. And I find that when I do this personal work, like doing this shoot the other day, even if it was like very, very quick, it really completely reinvigorated me and reminded me like why I love photography so much. It gives me this new opportunity, this fresh canvas to play with. And I also feel like when I'm editing my personal work, I'm working out like a lot of other things in my mind as well, because it reminds me that I can be flexible. Yeah.
Yeah. I find that, it's therapy. Art is therapy,
Exactly.
Yeah. When I'm making art, I don't really want much else in my life. And when I'm not making art, it feels like something's missing for me personally.
Me as well. It's like we just have to express, and process, and having a practice allows you to process and work things out and create more space for exploration and play.
Definitely. Yeah. It's good for the soul. I feel like everyone is different, obviously, but for those of us who have an art background and have created art, throughout our lives, it's it kind of becomes a necessary way to process thoughts and emotions. And when it's not there, I feel like things kind of just get sticky.
Right. Exactly. Too sticky, too stagnant.
No good. TS. Get that out of there.
Get it out of here.
I'm going to send you a hashtag TSTS later on Instagram.
That's going to be like our new inside joke.
Yes. Oh, you don't know? Too sticky, too stagnant?
Come on. That's what we're getting out of. That's what we're getting away from. So as you can see, I actually really love this overexposed look here, because you can't really tell if she's laying down, if that's sky behind her, if she's in a studio. And, Ayana's a musician. She just released some music on SoundCloud that I'm sure is soon to be on streaming platforms. And I actually do a lot of like artist visual identity work. And so creating various edits like this is super, super helpful for situations like this, where I'm like, okay, maybe she's going to want something for her Spotify profile or something for her SoundCloud. Maybe she's going to want a couple different crops so that she can put them like maybe in the banner of SoundCloud or on Twitter, oops, that kind of thing. Whoopsie. Yeah. And so what you can do in those situations, you can kind of look here and decide, well, how would that look? If you saw that on a banner somewhere, I actually really like that. But then you can go back and you can maybe crop in on the lips. That's really cute too. You can scroll down, maybe get the earrings a little bit more abstract. All of these little snippets look great. And I could totally see like text somewhere over here as well. Maybe like announcing a release or just with her name. And then
definitely. And in Photoshop, you could always do a content aware crop to like add more space to the right or left if you needed to.
Amazing.
Have you ever done that sort of thing?
No, I have not.
It's awesome. Literally, you just like go to the crop tool in Photoshop and like stretch the image to the right, and it'll just fill it with background. And
that's
for
insane.
images like this, it works perfect.
Wow. That's so cool.
I know. Technology.
I feel good about that image. Technology is insane. Yeah. So like we were talking about earlier, this is so different from, oops, reference view. That's cool though. Drag and drop from, oh, reference photo. That's so cool. So that's very different from the original photo.
Very different. Yeah. Wow. Look at that before and after. Crazy.
Crazy. Now I'm like, I don't even know which one I like more, but sometimes when I do a lot of edits, I like to like sit with it for a day or two and come back to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That
And
was fun.
what I like to do too is export different edits to my phone. I'll just like airdrop them or whatever. And then I'll just look at them over the next couple of days. And a lot of the time I just send them to my friends and be like, what do you think of this one? It's
Totally.
part of the creative process. And like, if you got cool people in your life who will give you like actual good feedback, or you can usually tell if they're like, oh, I like that one, and like 5 people say, oh, I like that one, then, you're onto something.
Exactly. Yeah, I do that too. And honestly, sometimes the screen display is different from the MacBook to the iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's super helpful because sometimes you might like really love an edit and you see it on your phone and it looks a little bit different or a little bit more vibrant. And I like to think about like what the people who are going to experience the image are going to see, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes their like night mode will be on or stuff like that. So sometimes I just experiment with that a little bit and find a happy medium if I'm like have all of that time, you know?
Yes, yes, yes.
Definitely do that more with my personal work than others.
Yeah, definitely like with art. I just have like a few friends that I send stuff to. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's just kind of creating that dialogue and like work in process. I used to like not want to show anyone anything until it was like done. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that I missed out on a lot of like really good feedback because of that. So I try to just send my work out to my friends like mid process, and it's a lot of fun. You can kind of like
Yeah.
create things together too.
I love that. I love that like collaborative energy. Whoa.
Definitely.
So I just opened another image of Ayana from our shoot and just started clicking around in this calibration module. I know I've been calling them so many different things. I'm like the module, the section, tomato. But
Exactly.
I think module is a good word for that, right?
I think module is actually the correct word. Yeah. That's what I call them anyway.
Look at me using correct terminology.
Yes. Well, it goes to
So
show you don't have to be like super technical and know all the right like, terms and features and whatnot. Like it's, you can use these tools without being like properly like, you know, trained or like read the manual or something like that. And I think that's the testament of good tools made for artists is like just get in there and use it, like you don't need to read a book. Just put some sliders back and forth and see what you like.
exactly. I wish I knew that first starting out because I was so insecure about like not being so professionally trained. And
Mm-hmm.
I think I started editing like back in high school, like in Photoshop and experimenting with the colors and all of that and different ways to process. And then I used like Visco on my phone for a while. And then when I discovered like Lightroom Classic, I was like, oh, this
Mm-hmm.
is different. This is next level. But I
This
had
is
some
the
like,
one.
yeah, I was so amazed and it just inspired me so much. And I don't even know. I've probably spent over 10,000 hours in here and I don't even know all of the tools, and that's why I'm continuing to be a student and just always learn. Because even if you master one or you think you master one thing, there's always more to learn.
Always.
Yeah.
That's
So
the
we
fun part.
basically
That's what keeps
took
us going.
exactly We took the blue in her dress and we made it purple, and that's kind of wild because it preserved her skin tone so well.
Yeah, it's so cool how you can target specific color ranges and just
Right.
change those. Have you worked with the new masking tools in Lightroom at all?
I typically, when I use the mask, it's like just the linear gradient, but
Mm,
I typically don't mask often, but that's one of the things I'm wanting to learn for sure.
yeah, they're super
Let's try it.
powerful.
Oh my gosh, it's detecting the subject.
I know. It
This
uses
is wild.
artificial intelligence to do this, and then once it's processed, you can just edit just your subject, or you can invert the selection with that button on the top right there, and then edit just the background. So like if you want to make the background darker, you can do that. It's really opens up the possibilities.
Are y'all seeing this? Are y'all hearing this?
Usually it works quickly. I think maybe because we're doing a live broadcast, it's like thinking.
Yeah, yeah,
But
it's thinking.
yeah, usually it'll find your subject within just a couple seconds, and then you can edit them just how you'd like. It's really, oh, look at that. There we go.
That is a good selection. That's like
Yeah,
very precise.
I know
Even her hair.
it's really impressive. Yeah, so from there you can go through all your basic controls. I know, it's nuts. And then if you click the invert on the top right, um, then you're just editing just the background. So it's a
Um,
really cool way to make your subject stand out.
is it this that you're talking about? To
No,
invert?
where you see, okay, so you have your
Oh, I
sliders,
found it. I
that one
found
right
it.
there. Yeah, click on that little invert there. Boom. And now you're just affecting just the background. So you can take the exposure up or down for the background. You can change the colors of the background. It's like
Ooh.
actually nuts.
Oh my goodness. I'm like shook right now.
Yeah, these new masking tools are really like game changer in Lightroom. It takes a lot of like Photoshop functionality and brings it into Lightroom.
Wow. I'm like baffled.
Yeah, and for your collage work, this is like boom.
Exactly. You already know. You already know what I'm thinking. That's hilarious. Because when I was like, so we were up on her roof when we were shooting this photo, and she has this really cool, like, it's like part of the roof, this gray area. But I was just thinking, like, oh, I would love if it was like a little bit darker or a little bit brighter. Like maybe I could like add a cool color back there. Who
Definitely.
knows? But that's so impressive. I'm gonna have to like experiment with this sometime and really just see what's up. She looks so angelic.
So
Oh,
if you want to get off of this, you can click on the little mask icon there. You have your crop tool, then the healing brush tool, then the red eye tool, and then the mask. You can just click on that, and then you'll be back into your normal edits,
boom. Just like that, you're back.
just like that,
And
and
then
you're
you can
back.
probably click it again and
Yep.
access that same mask.
Yeah, you
Wow.
can click right there on that mask. It shows up there, and continue editing. It's all non-destructive. It works with your history panel. Can't
That's so cool.
can't do anything wrong there. It's just fun.
I'm going to keep it like that just because I like the contrast and I want to see how far I can push it here now.
Oh, that's fun. Cool. Yeah, like give yourself a
Little
different starting place.
challenge.
Yeah, like a challenge.
Yeah. This is fun. Oh, such an amazing tool. I honestly really love underexposing or like bringing the exposure down on photos like this because I just love little details like jewelry. And I think it like kind of takes you into the photo in a different way.
Definitely. Yeah, it really is. It's so fun to see these edits, and everyone is going to do these differently. There's no right or wrong way to edit your images.
Exactly. You can just let your creativity lead the way.
Boom.
That looks nice. Some of you who were in the session yesterday followed me on Instagram yesterday, and I was just so impressed with all of your work. Like, it just blows my mind every time. I feel like every time I discover a new photographer, I'm just like in awe because our minds work so differently. And it's like, I will see some edits sometimes that I'm like, oh my God, I wouldn't have thought to do that, but that looks amazing. And now I want to go try it. And we can just continue to like, that's how inspiration works, right? Like we can just continue to discover and experiment and discover again and then experiment some more. It's really fun. And all of our work tends to kind of like riff off of each other in a fun way.
Totally. Yeah, it's so much fun.
She kind of looks like she's in the snow or something.
Oh,
now.
That's cool. It's like a very mermaid vibe.
Yeah. That was a fun one. Let us know what you think in the chat. I think I'm going to move on to another image. How does that feel?
Let's go for it. Yeah, I feel like, let's do a bunch of images. Let's do it.
Yeah, I brought in already. So many. Yeah, so many photos for you all today. I'm having a blast already. Like, I've got some photos of FKA Twigs in here as well. Some of my favorite photos. Do we want to edit more portraits or more concert photography or some landscape stuff? What do you think, Aaron?
Let us know in the chat. I feel like chat's just been blowing up. Absolutely loving this broadcast. So, all right, chat. Portraits, landscapes, or like concerts and events?
Let us know.
Let us know. We're here for you.
Sip on my coffee in the meantime.
Yeah, what are you drinking over there? What you got in your little mug?
So, in this mug, I have coffee along with some like turmeric, chai.
Whoa.
Like, I got this like mixed drink thing. I'm pretty sure there's like mushroom, like chaga mushroom in there too. It's supposed to be really good for your brain. And I'm trying this new thing where I don't use like creamer. I'm just trying to like mix it with another like drink of spices, and it's actually delicious.
Oh my God. I've been using coconut milk, the one that's in the can, the like white creamy stuff.
Oh my God, that's one of my favorite ways to drink coffee.
Incredible. All right, we've got some responses from the chat. Robert says landscape. Ferry says portraits. Gamma says landscapes and concerts. Oliver says landscapes. We actually have the most votes for landscapes so far. So let's start with those.
Let's do that. Don't worry, everyone. We're going to get to all of the different subject matter. We still have an hour to go. So
boom. And
I'm excited.
Chaga coffee to help us along the way.
That might be why I'm so like amped up.
I'm loving it. Amp it up.
So let's see. I think we're going to go with some of the photos from Oaxaca.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Which one, though? There was one photo that I turned into like a very insane looking sunset. And I'm going to show you how. I think it was these. Yeah.
Oh, I miss Oaxaca.
Definitely one of my favorite places I've ever visited. Yeah. So this one, it's crazy because I think about the image that I like edited a while ago, and I was looking for the raw photo earlier, and I was like, where is this photo? It's like so pink. How come I can't find this very pink sunset photo? And I thought, like, I tricked myself into thinking that I actually shot it during the sunset because I edited it to look like such a sunset feel, but alas, it was not.
You're remembering the edited version. Like, where is that? Did I lose it?
Yeah, finally found it. And this, do we, I feel like let's do the landscape one because it's takes up more space
There we go.
on the screen. Yeah.
Perfect.
Gorgeous. So
Gorge. I'm gonna run to the restroom real quick, but
for sure.
keep on rocking. You got this.
So everyone, this is, I think I stayed like on this block in Oaxaca with my friend Riva a couple of years ago. And it was like obviously so colorful, so beautiful. And when I first edited this photo, I made it very pink. And so I think I just did something like this originally with the tint. Maybe I started with making it warm. Yeah. And then let's see what it does when we bring down the exposure. That brings out the sky a lot more, but I do want to see the foreground as well. So we're going to just bring out some of the shadows. I tend to actually push the shadows out a lot of the time. Yeah. And then we're going to go down here. Let's see what we got. Color grading, detail, profile. Yeah, let's see what adding pink to the shadows will do. It's already a little bit more pink than it originally was. I think I remember what I did. I think I used a linear gradient for the sky. And I just dragged it on down. This is like a nice quick way to do it. And you can actually switch up the hue here. Whoa. That's not as realistic as I would like. That's kind of fun though. Maybe a little bit more of a pink tint. Yeah. Something like that. We don't want that too bright.
That's looking so cool.
It's looking fun so far.
Barry says, your style looks like film. Totally does.
That's what we're going for. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I think I just really, really love like how film photography looks and also like cinema as well, but definitely feel very called to like film edit or how film looks. And I tend to definitely edit with that kind of idea in mind. So this is like, it's like very pink, but not necessarily the pink that I want. Sometimes it takes a while to get where you want to go, but the journey is more important than the destination.
Yes. It's looking like the flowers in that picture too.
I know, it really is. Okay, let's see. What do we want the shadows to look like? Something like that. And then we're going to exit out of this mask and just bring back a lot of that exposure. I'm going to bring down the highlights, bring down the whites. Add some of the black back in there. Add some of the shadow back in there. Maybe bring some of the contrast down. I find that when you like completely kill the contrast in a photo, it just feels more surreal. More of like a daydream. And that's kind of my thing. For my personal work, at least. Very dreamy.
Yeah, I love it. It's got a real cool, like, trippy vibe to it.
Yeah. I don't necessarily love how the clouds are looking right now. They're not looking as realistic as I would like. So maybe let's see. Oh, we've got to click that mask again. The linear gradient mask. Let's see if I can bring some of that realistic vibe back. overall right now it's looking like I just added a tinge of a pink overlay here, which is pretty true. I did do that. And so we're just going to find a happy medium somewhere. Maybe it was like a little bit more orange. Let's try that. Didn't do much of a change. And then we can go up here, check out the luminance. Yeah. I feel like that's closer to what I had originally done. And then again, I see a little bit of a vignette that I don't want there. So I'm going to scroll down. And you showed me something yesterday that I already forgot. Oh, it was, I think both of these, the lens corrections. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. And then you can adjust the vignettes there.
Yeah, it's so nice. It'll figure out what camera and lens you're using and actually fix it. Fix distortion and vignetting.
Yeah. Okay, I kind of love this now that I'm looking at it. Yeah.
Super cool.
What do we think, chat? Should we continue pushing it? See what else we can do?
They're loving the colors. It's so cool.
Just like such a fun cotton candy kind of moment. It just makes me feel at peace when I look at this. I feel like I just want to stand there and take it all in.
Yeah, it's
Let's
so
check
cool.
out that before and after.
The old buildings and the color and everything.
Yeah. Look at that. You would not have thought. That's really fun. I actually love that it gives you all of these different ways to view the before and after.
Wow.
Yeah.
So cool. Yeah, chat's loving it. They're saying go for it. Edit it, keep on pushing it however far you want to. They're along for the ride.
I feel good about that edit. Let's see how it applies to these other images that were in the same area.
Cool.
Let's sync that. Synchronize. And so one thing I want to point out as well, it's interesting when you are in library mode versus develop mode, it gives you like, I believe sync versus sync settings. I don't know what is the preferred way, but typically I just click sync settings, or if I'm in develop mode, I'll just click sync. And I'm not sure if there is much of a difference there. Maybe it's just two buttons for the same thing. Maybe there is subtle differences. What do you think, Aaron?
I don't really know the difference, to be honest.
Yeah.
I always click on sync settings. Maybe someone in the chat knows. I feel like I should know that. I just always click on sync settings, so it's like, man, that one does
Me
the job.
too. Exactly. So this is how the photos came out that were also a part of this like little section or this batch. And I think I preferred these two vertical ones like to begin with.
Yeah,
but
cool.
This just looks like a lot more even and realistic. This feels like it might have actually been a pink sunset in that moment.
So trippy. Emma is asking where you grew up because your style is so full of colors.
Thank you, Emma. So I grew up in Sacramento, actually, and I went to this like art-based high school, which is why I think I'm so drawn to color, because I actually started out doing like color pencil drawings and painting, and I used a lot of like oil pastels when I was growing up. And oil pastels, if you're not familiar, they're so vivid and like pigmented. And if you're familiar with Fauvism, that's one of my favorite art styles. And I
Fauvism?
definitely, Fauvism, Fauvism. Yeah, and it actually translates into my photography and my editing as well. Like I would say that this is a very like Fauvis image.
Oh yes, very Focus. I'm putting a link in the chat. Well, I can't put that. It's too long. I just did a Google search for Fauvism, and it's so cool. I love it. And
Right?
yes, it's very much. I can see why you like it so much. I'm also drawn to it.
Yeah, it's so beautiful, I think. And what's interesting is I don't very well, lately I've been dressing in more color, but growing up, I was very like into like wearing muted tones and like
Mm-hmm.
just black and white because my art was always so colorful. Like maybe we'll have some time I can show you some of my old drawings on my website.
Oh, that'd be
But
nice.
yeah, if you anyone in the chat wants to check out my website, it is aminaelkabbany.com. And I do have a section on there that says paintings, etc., that has all of like my old like traditional artwork. And maybe you can see some of that style crossover with my photography.
It's so cool to see how different art styles and techniques kind of overlap and how your drawing, painting, winds up affecting your photography.
Exactly that. Yeah. And like just all of the different influences in your life, they pour into so many different things, and you never know like what is going to influence you later down the line. When I was 15, 16, I had no idea that my like affinity for Fauvism and like art in general would lead me down a path of like creative editing and photography. Like I thought I was going to be a traditional artist. Actually, I thought I was going to be like holed up somewhere and like paint all day every day, but I ended up shooting photos like as reference photos for paintings, but completely fell in love with the craft of photography as a result.
That's so cool. Yeah, you never really know where things are going to go.
You never know where things are going to go or where they're going to flow. I think quote. We have like, yeah, we've become poets all of a sudden.
We're poets. Yep.
Yeah. So let's move on to some of these other street photos. I really just being in Oaxaca was such a pleasure because it's just so colorful everywhere and just like eye candy everywhere, you know?
Did you try any interesting foods when you were there?
Ooh, yeah, I actually tried crickets.
For
the first time. That was, I don't think I would do it again, but I'm glad I tried it.
Yeah, that's a popular snack there for sure.
Yeah. I kind of like these. These were like, we were walking by, I think this was like a library, and cool. There was this like, just such a cinematic moment to me. This guy was just sitting there reading, and there's this huge book wall, and I love books. Whoa, I was able to zoom in really far and it's so clear.
You can read the books themselves.
Oh my gosh, movie stars. Let's see what else they got, huh? Yeah, and I just love these like more street style documentary kind of photos, and when you end up like just discovering a moment that draws you in. And yeah, I've discovered a lot of moments like that. Just quickly do a fun edit on this that might feel good. Okay, that's too zoomed out. If you're in the navigator bar, something to know is you can always either click fit or fill. If you click fill, it will fill your workspace. And if you click fit, it will fit it into like the entire image into the workspace. For this, I would like to fill it in there. Maybe we're going to bring down some of the highlights, some of the whites again. Y'all are definitely going to see these patterns of how I work during this stream.
Mm-hmm.
I pretty much just bring the highlights all the way down, bring the shadows all the way to the other side, and often the blacks as well, and kind of just even out the exposure. And that's kind of like my first flow when I'm editing a photo. I don't know why it feels like a lot more real to me and like cinematic as well. And then from there, I can kind of just like go in any direction that I want. I can make it warmer, I can make it cooler. And sometimes I do like to bring those highlights back or the whites, but I often just like to see it without before. For some reason, it just makes me feel something. I don't know.
It's all about the feeling.
Yes, it is.
All about that flow.
All about the flow. I'm actually like incubating this idea called flow space, and I really want to create some programming around like getting into the flow state, you know? So that's something to look out for.
Keep me updated. I'm very interested in that.
Absolutely. I find that a lot of artists have trouble like getting into the flow because so often we get caught up in our head over all of the little details or too much of the nitty gritty. But if we create space for flow to unfold, then I think that it feels a lot less daunting to like show up for the tasks. And so often when I'm like supposed to, you know, sit down and maybe have an editing session or a planning session, I love to like light some candles and some incense, and like I surround myself with plants. I need like life around me, you know? And maybe like a nice warm drink. I just get myself cozy because I think the traditional workspace is just, it doesn't help facilitate flow.
Yeah.
It's like an empty desk, but maybe that's just me. Maybe I like a more cozy energy.
I'm all about the cozy.
Yeah.
As much as possible.
So as we can see, I just kind of created a little bit more warmth in this image than it originally had. It kind of feels like more welcoming than it did before.
Yeah, like bright sun. I love the skylight there, like subtle little detail.
Oh yeah, it's just little moments.
Yeah, a little beam of light coming in.
I love a beam of light. Let's look at some of these
beams
street
of
photos.
Light, please.
More beams of light. We're getting real abstract here, huh? Beams of light.
Yes.
So here we have, I just love this composition because I'm a sucker for some leading lines, you know? It's like you first get pulled in with this taxi here, and it feels kinetic because you can almost like see the movement of the traffic, and you can hear the honking and the buzzing in the streets. Maybe it just feels I love it. So we're going to start with, as you can see, this is a little bit, I like the sky, but we're going to bring some details back into it by, again, bringing the highlights down.
Do you want to try the new select sky feature?
You read my mind. You really, really read my mind. Let's check it out. Select sky, detecting sky. That's so cool.
That's right.
Wow. AI saving the day.
Yeah, soon you're just going to tell your computer, make it like I like it, and it'll just do it for you.
It'll just know like my particular preference.
Yeah.
Whoa. So it selected the sky, and now I can edit just the sky. Oh my God, this is like a photographer's dream right now. I wish, how recent is this the sky select tool? Do you know?
It's pretty new, maybe like 4 months or so.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I could have used this for so many years.
Yeah.
But I'm glad it exists now.
Me too.
Oh my goodness. And then Oh, that's so cool. So now we are editing just the sky. Where do we want to take it? Do we want to make it warmer? Oh, this is editing the rest of everything.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's going to be everything
So it's
there.
It's just the mask module.
Yeah, just
Remember
that top.
that.
Yeah, just that top module. But you can put your hue saturation in there, and I believe you can color it too. If you scroll down to the bottom, you can click where it says color, and then they get that rectangle X box there. You can put color in there as well.
Amazing. Okay, I'm going to go down and undo what I did in the color grading module.
There we go.
Cool. And then we're going to go back up to the masking module for the select sky tool.
Yes, nice.
And we are going to adjust this with this color box here. Do we want to create an apocalyptic green vibe?
Ooh, it's the end of Oaxaca.
Oh no, maybe let's not manifest that.
I know. What's manifesting more Oaxaca everywhere?
More Oaxaca. In all seriousness, it was one of the most stunning places I've ever been.
Yeah, I went a few months ago and then went back like 3 weeks later.
Wow.
I live not too far from there though, so it's not super hard for me.
You do, huh? Oh, I'm so jealous. I'm trying not to be jealous, but I can't help it.
Yeah.
That beach life, it calls to me.
For real.
Yeah.
24/7 palm trees, sunshine.
24/7. So as you can see, it's
so you're close.
Yeah. I have a lot of, I feel very lucky and very spoiled by the weather here.
Yeah, it's living. So I've been here. I'm in Mexico. I'm on the west coast of Mexico. I've been here for about a year now, and I just totally forgot winter exists. Like my friends are sending me pictures with like feet of snow on the ground. And I'm like, oh God, I forgot about that.
Could not be me.
Yeah, yikes. Okay, that's a choice.
Yeah, that is a choice. I love that for them. I hope that they're enjoying it. I actually really love the snow. I just don't think I could live in it.
Yeah, I love the snow too. I was in Chicago for 10 years, so got plenty of snow, plenty of you know, the snow is like one thing, but I think the gray skies and not seeing the sun much for like months on months, that was tough. And when it would get dark really early, like when you go to work and it's dark and then you come home and it's dark, it's like, okay, where's the sun? I think I need that.
Definitely need that. So I think the sky looks pretty good right now. I'm going to stick with that. I unclicked the mask tool.
And then you can also, so I just want to, if you wanted to do another select sky.
Let's do it.
Another cool little tip there. So you can do another select sky. So you can actually click on the little plus icon. So you have your new mask there. Yep.
Oh,
click on that plus, and then you can go to another select sky. So this will be fun. Okay, so it's going to go doot, selecting the sky. One moment. Okay, cool. Now you can click that invert button on the right-hand side there. So now you're actually going to edit everything but the sky.
I continue to be so amazed.
It's so fun, right?
Is genius. Yeah, look again at how detailed this selection is.
I know, it's nuts. And it's just going to get better too. What it does is it actually processes that information in the cloud. It's using artificial intelligence to figure out what to select. And, you know, it just gets better as time goes on.
Look at how even this photo is now. Did not look like that before. This is realistic. This is so fun.
It is.
Thank you for enlightening me as well. Like, I love learning new things. I love learning with the chat.
Yes.
This is so cool.
Chat is loving it. And yeah, you're picking it up super quick. I'm always like, should I tell people about this stuff? Because it can be like, you know, but you're like, boom, you're already a wizard at it.
I'm like, no, tell me, please. Like, how can I make my life easier and faster and just continue to, you know, like continue to build on my workflow.
Nice. Amina, do you have the artist spotlight pulled up? The link for the artist spotlight? I believe it's in the chat for our Zoom.
Let's do it.
Nice. All right, so it is time for our artist spotlight. So exciting for today. For those of you guys who are joining us on Behance, be sure to check out the artist spotlight tab just to the right of the chat. You can actually nominate someone to be included in our artist spotlight. And the artist we are featuring today is Cristiano Hermoso, and I absolutely love their work. And Amina, you can go ahead and scroll through the work, and we can discuss it. This is like a whoop whoop session. Like, say all the awesome things
whoop.
about their work.
Yeah, Cristiano, he is a peer of mine that I've known of for a while. We haven't exactly had the chance to have like a little coffee moment yet, but it's been incredible to watch his growth and just his creativity flourish. It's absolutely insane. Like he started out so young too. Like he was absolutely just making strides at like 17, 18, 19. I think he might be 20, 21 now, but yeah, so much of this, he's just such a prolific photographer and like visionary editor. I believe he like actually will edit stuff in Photoshop and then print it out and then like cut it up and do these really cool compositions here. And it just gives this really, really fun textured look.
It's so cool. Yeah, it's very unique work.
It's insane. I cannot wait to shoot with him one day. Like when I got that budget, definitely gonna hire him. These are amazing. Cristiano, you are just such a visionary.
That's a perfect word.
Yes.
Yeah, looking at this work, it's like already classic. Like it looks like it's been around for a long time, and it has like such a unique style to it that, you know, I'm immediately know who this is and immediately drawn to the work.
Right. It's just so individual.
Yes, which is insanely difficult to do as an artist.
Was just gonna say that. Yeah, it's like very, very hard to like create a distinguished style, and that's why I'm so impressed with Cristiano, because he just shoots like all the time and is always pushing himself and bringing in like amazing stylists and makeup artists and models to just create top-notch work. And it really shows like the level of care that the entire team puts in.
It's always about a team, for sure.
Yeah. One of my favorite stylists, her name is Styled by Tati. She does a lot of his shoots with him, including, I believe, these two. And it's just, they knock it out of the park every time. Like, what? They're nuts.
They are nuts. And so much fun to look at, too.
Yeah, I really feel so inspired every time I see his work. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. And it's crazy because I've been scrolling for a minute and like it's still just like amazing photo after amazing photo after amazing photo. Wow, I just scrolled through his whole feed. Amazing.
I know. How rare is that?
Right. He really started out strong and then just got even stronger.
Yeah, it's so rare where I'm like, oh, I got to the end of their feed and I want more.
Yeah, like where's the rest? But that's a pretty like strong breadth of work.
Very. I completely agree.
Do you have a favorite photo that we've seen so far in his feed?
I'm really digging these newer works that are super wide angle and like crazy distorted, which is so funny because like from a technical standpoint, you know, they always say like, don't shoot a portrait really wide angle because it stretches people's faces and bodies all. And, you know, but then you look at these and they're amazing. And so it just goes to show there's no wrong way to approach this sort of thing, you know, like, yeah, you can do whatever you want with art as long as you can pull it off.
Exactly. It's really like you have to do it in a specific way. Like, as you can see, I think he asked the models to like lean into the lens. And that looks much better versus if they were like standing all the way up and back and maybe would look distorted in a non-flattering way. But these are just super flattering. I think he really knows how to showcase people in their best light, which is like a really important quality as a photographer, I think.
Definitely. Yeah, very, very impressed by the rules. Fairy in the chat says, remember, rules are meant to be broken.
Yes, they are. Learn the rules and then break them.
Break them.
Amazing.
Yes, I think, Cristiano, you're going to get a bunch of new followers on Instagram after this, including me.
Everybody go follow Cristiano Hermoso. Please definitely keep up with their work. Hire them based in Los Angeles. If you have a fashion brand or just want some really cool photos taken, I'm sure he can help you out.
Fantastic. Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much, Cristiano. And don't forget, everyone in the chat, if you would like to submit an artist to be featured, just click on that tab to the right of the chat module here on Behance Live, and you can submit someone. So you can be featured in a live stream just like today. All right, Amina, this is looking so cool. I'm loving this. We are just like editing the sky, inverting that selection, editing the ground. So much possibility here.
That's so cool. As you can see, I'm just toggling between these two masks, and I absolutely love that it shows you the selection in this like low opacity kind of overlay. It really helps me identify like what I'm actually working with.
Yes, and you can change the color of that overlay as well if you need to. That, like, if you can't see it, like if you were photographing a red subject, you can change that. You can hit H on your keyboard for hide, and that will temporarily hide the overlay. And you can hit O, and that will show or hide those little pins on there. H will hide, like if you make like a radial gradient or a linear gradient or something like that, it'll hide those.
Good to know.
Yeah.
We love learning. Yes. Okay. I think we got the masks. We used the masks to really even out this photo. Let's take a look at the before and after. It was very blown out before. Wasn't like necessarily so even. The sky was like almost unviewable. Now you can really see the details of the clouds and the sky and the blue in the sky. This is actually what it looked like in real life, I would say. Pretty close.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And then from there, you can do all the creative editing you want, whether you want that to look super realistic, you want it to look pretty blue. Let's see what I would do here. I feel like, honestly, this one is pretty fun as is, but yeah, maybe like a little bit of a green tint there with the shadows. And I feel like there's not much I want to do with this. That feels like just like a really nice memory of a travel moment. Adding the exposure in makes it feel a lot more like film, like we were talking about earlier. That's nice. I like that. That makes me feel good.
Nice.
I'll leave it there.
Yes.
Exactly. So we've got about 20 minutes left, chat. Let's see what y'all were asking for. Some portraits, some concert editing. What should we do next?
Yeah, I feel like there were some portraits towards the bottom that I saw, like some bright colored stuff. Maybe the blue dress portraits or these other ones down on the bottom. Those all look so cool.
Yeah, these were super fun. Let's see some of these. So Ayana also plays the harp.
Wow,
maybe
cool.
let's work with that here. Yeah, that's really nice. So let's go ahead and click develop because we're going to take it into our workspace.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to adjust it to fit. And you know what? I think this photo might actually be okay to edit with the fill feature. Since we're focusing on skin and sky and just evenness in general, maybe I'll zoom out just a smidge there.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. So what do we want to do here? Do we want to do a nice realistic edit? This photo is so even already, but let's see if we can give it like the ethereal feel that her pose and the context of this image is getting or giving me. In order to do that, I would actually definitely reduce the noise here. So I would scroll on down, bring the noise reduction up a lot, make it pretty smooth. I might scroll back up as well to kind of do a little anti-clarity, not texture, anti-clarity. Take the clarity away so that she has this really soft look now, really ethereal. That's already like very dreamy. From there, I might add a little bit more of a highlight. Bring the whites up. Okay, that's too much. Maybe somewhere around there. We had this massive, what do you call it? The it was the reflector. Wow, this coffee is wearing off.
Time for more mushrooms.
More chaga mushroom, please.
Yes.
So we it was actually really funny because we didn't have someone to like assist us, and we were like, we're gonna manifest someone to help us hold the reflector. And she called her neighbor and was like, hey, can you help us? And he actually met us upstairs immediately and didn't even use our reflector. He brought this like massive like reflector. It just cracked me up. It was so funny. So we were lucky enough to have that support.
It's the benefit of shooting in LA, I suppose.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. Everybody's a photographer.
Yeah, I brought all my own equipment too.
Literally, I was like, this is too funny. So I brought down some of the contrast and I'm just going to see how it looks, adding a little bit of warmth in the temperature here. And that already looks like, oops, really nice. That's like, that's really pretty. If that was like an ad for this harp, I would buy it immediately.
Yes. I don't even know how to play a harp, but I'm buying it.
I am buying it. I've actually been experimenting with a lot more instruments lately too. It's been really fun. Yeah. Ayana and I. Yeah, so Ayana and I have this like initiative we're doing. It's called like a jam session, and we're just inviting like tons of artists to come and like jam together all at once. And everyone's been bringing their really cool instruments. Somebody brought like a tongue drum recently that I have been obsessed with, and I have to go get my own because it's just like infectious the way that the tones create like this, how do I say, like a resonance, you know, like when you're playing it. And I feel like with instruments like that, like you don't necessarily need to know exactly what you're doing, but you need to totally just be able to follow your intuition and like, again, follow the flow. And so that's what I love so much about even the harp as well. I've like dabbled a bit and it's just really intuitive. It feels really nice to like, and healing as well, like just playing different instruments.
That's so fun.
So fun.
Do we have any musicians in the chat? Anyone play any interesting instruments? What's the most interesting instrument you've ever played?
Sally sells seashells by the seashore.
Exactly. I played the trumpet for like 5 or 6 years in high school.
Wow.
That was a lot of fun. And piano a little bit. And yeah, I've always wanted to play the guitar, but every time I start learning, I'm like, oh, this is way harder than I thought it was going to be.
Oh my goodness.
Much respect, you know?
Absolutely. I respect like musicians so much because I have always wanted to learn how to play the piano or the guitar, and it just hasn't happened yet. I know it's going to happen. I actually do have a piano here at my loft, and it is tuned as well. So that is next on the list for sure. Maybe like the tongue drum, the harp, and then piano.
Definitely.
But I do love singing. I actually have a single out, guys. If you want to go check that out, follow me on Instagram. Yeah, it's all linked on my Instagram. So
all right, check it out.
A little secret song. I guess it's not secret anymore. But
the word is out. The single is dropped.
The single has been dropped. It's actually so fun, like honoring my multiplicity as, you know, a photographer, an artist, a musician, a writer, a consultant. Like you can be all of the things. You don't have to limit yourself to just one thing. And you can thrive in that multiplicity as well. That's something that I only recently like integrated into my reality. And I really appreciate living in this reality, you know?
Oh yeah, definitely thrive. Yeah, the more art, the better.
The more art, the better. It's all just different ways of expressing that creative energy that we all have. And even if you don't think you're creative or don't think you're an artist, like we all have it. It might just be dormant and need some activation. But that's why I really want to encourage you to like just go out and try the thing that you've always wanted to try. Like it's never too late to do something for the first time.
There we go. Love it.
Okay, this looks really dreamy.
It's so cool.
Yeah. How did we get that so ethereal from where it was originally? That's nuts. I really love that. Yeah. That's so fun. So let's see how this looks synchronized with all of the rest of the images in this batch here.
Let's try it. We got about 10 minutes left in today's stream. This has been so much fun.
So much fun. I'm really having a blast.
Yeah, and seeing how these images are coming along is really spectacular, and all your creative editing is very inspiring. And yesterday I made some art that was like very like different colors and new colors that I don't normally work with. Definitely inspired by you, so thank you, Amina.
Oh my goodness. Wow, I feel honored.
Like, yeah, time to integrate more color into the work. I've been doing monochrome stuff. Let's get some more color in there.
Color really, I think, just adds that vital life force into our world that sometimes we forget about.
Yes, definitely.
So it's interesting because in this image that I originally edited, the blue really counteracts the warmth of the model and the harp, and it looks pretty even. But when I look at the photos that I synchronized with the edit, it feels a little bit too warm to me, which is interesting. And so now what's cool is at least now I have a starting point and an overall ethereal feel, which is great. But now I'm just going to go in and make some subtle tweaks to all of these individual photos.
Definitely. Yeah. And you can do that at any time, which is just so cool.
We love the non-destructive nature of Lightroom. Even just adding a little bit coolness. Maybe let's go back up to the color grading module. See what we got going on over here.
What we got. Show us what you got.
Show us what you got.
Are you a Rick and Morty fan?
No.
Have you seen it?
Yes, I have seen it. Is that a line from Rick and Morty?
It's a line from Rick and Morty. Yeah, I feel like it's a very divisive show. You either love it or not so much.
Yeah, I'm more of like an Adventure Time type of gal.
Mm.
Yeah.
I need to check Adventure Time out. I haven't seen much of that.
What?
I know.
Has anyone in the chat seen Adventure Time? Finn and Jake are my favorites.
Let me check out Adventure Time.
It's just like such a feel-good show, I think. I'm definitely like into those cartoons that are very like wholesome.
Yes. I've definitely seen these characters a lot. I love the animation style.
Oh my gosh. I just had like a flashback to when I was like growing up and would watch that show like after school. Good times.
So fun. Adventure Time. I'll check it out after the stream. Time to binge Adventure Time.
Yeah, I'm like refraining from like singing the jingle.
Go for it. Sing it. Sam Peterson says Adventure Time is solid. Okay.
I'm just going to give y'all a little bit. Adventure Time. That's it. That's all I'm giving you.
Wade Acuff says Adventure Time and Gravity Falls. So good.
Ooh, Gravity Falls. I think I've heard of that, but I haven't checked it out yet. Yeah, what shows are y'all watching that are inspiring you lately?
Yeah, what are the shows?
Whoa, that's a little bit too crazy. So right now, oh, sorry. I just brought this very blue energy in and I love it.
It's so cool.
What were you going to say, Aaron? I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I was just, interested to see what the chat, thinks about these new edits and what shows they're watching. I was going to say, I watched that new Marvel show last night, the Moon Knight or something like that. It's the first episode on that.
Whoa, what is Disney Plus? Okay.
Mm-hmm. It's like their new superhero series.
Gotcha.
Marvel. Any Marvel fans out there in the chat? What about you, Amina? You into the Marvel movies?
Totally. I just haven't had a chance to really like catch up. And so I definitely like go through phases where I'm watching or binging more TV than, not. But right now I've been very much so in like a creation phase.
Definitely. I feel
yeah.
So good.
So we're just kind of experimenting with the hue here. I want to bring some more color back into her skin tone. And I'm like, okay, where is the sweet spot, Kind of just discover.
Yeah, Wade says, I love how soft this image feels. It's like really ethereal.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're going for. So I'm glad it translates.
Nice. And we've got about 3 minutes left in today's broadcast.
Ooh, 3 minutes left. That flew. This has been so much fun. Oh my goodness. So let me just go ahead and show you this final edit on this image. I think that looks so pretty.
It's so cool. Yeah, it looks like underwater kind of.
Yeah, maybe later I'll like edit some water fractals on top, make it feel really underwater.
That'd be so cool.
And that's like a stark, I guess, difference from this one here. This now all of the sudden feels too warm to me, but I'm gonna leave it as is for now. What would we like to end with? I think I have time for one more photo. Do we want to stick with this series here? Should I edit some from this concert? Should I edit some of these lifestyle photos?
Yeah.
What do you think, Aaron?
Let's go with the lifestyle one.
Perfect. Let's do that. These are so fun.
That's so cool.
Let's see. This is my friend Vanessa. I had the chance to cast the homies in this shoot. This is my friend Dante, looking fly. He had his aunt actually lend us this car for the shoot, which cracked me up because it really, really worked out. Okay, out of these, I think these are kind of silly. I think this last one is a good shot, even though her arms are cut off there. I know there's another shot from that shoot that's really a better composition, but for now, I'll just show you how I went about it. So the sky was like completely white that day. And the final edits from this shoot, I ended up veering very warm. Just wanted it to feel like a nice like summer day. And again, I brought some of the contrast down, and now it just feels like more like golden hour than just like a bland day.
Totally
And maybe
does.
this would be a great scenario for the replace sky feature. Let's do that again, because now I am obsessed.
Yes, I know. Once you learn about it, it's like, oh, this changes everything.
It really does. Look how fast that just selected the sky.
Boom.
That's amazing. So maybe we wanted a little bit more blue. Maybe we want to bring, ooh, that's too gray. And I think I should use this color selection box here to maybe add some blue in there. Whoa, that's so cool. Maybe I should like use this color drop tool. Oh, I forget you can't really do that there, huh? Let's see, maybe find a color that's closer to this car that would feel a little bit more realistic.
That's awesome. We got about 30 seconds left in our broadcast today.
All right. Everyone, thank you so much for being here. This was amazing, and I can't wait to do it again. Follow me on Instagram, Amina Yasmin. I'm on Twitter, and feel free to DM me about anything ever, tap in with me.
Definitely. And feel free to follow the Illustrator Creative Challenge. Join Andrew as he gets creative building assets for a production company in Illustrator and Creative Cloud Express. Thank you so much for watching, everyone.